Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Grace. I am going to be recapping a freaky little movie called Freaky. Hope you enjoy. There will be spoilers in this recap, so beware and take care. We see a old house at the beginning of the movie. There we see a group of teenagers gathering around a fire pit telling stories of the Blissfield Butcher. Isaac jokes and asks what this year's story will be, and then spills beer on Sandra. Good job. When Ginny informs Sandra that there's soda water in the bar, she goes to clean up. Isaac goes inside where he finds Ginny's dad's art collection. He looks around and after finding a crate with the Ladola inside, realizes there's no way to open it and walks away to explore some more of the house. He walks down the hall and past a wall with the missing mask from the Wall of Masks. He discovers a wine cellar and, like any horror movie dumb person, he decides to go down there. There he finds wine, obviously, and after being startled and dropping a bottle, he goes to clean it up. The Blissfield Butcher is waiting for him and jams a wine bottle down his throat, killing him. While Isaac is busy getting wine bottled, Sandra is peacefully washing her hands in the bathroom and ties her hair up in a ponytail. She thinks that Isaac is playing a joke on her and knocking on the door. So she goes to see what's up. Well, I'll tell you what's up. The Blissfield Butcher, and he just kicked the door in. She screams and backs away. Then the Blissfield Butcher smashes her head with the toilet seat. Ow. Ginny walks through a tennis court with Evan behind her when lights randomly come on. She looks around to see the butcher standing behind Evan, killing him. Ginny screams and runs back to the house and locks the door. The butcher breaks through the door and Ginny runs away. The Blissfield Butcher is close behind her and grabs a spear from Ginny's dad's collection and throws it, missing Ginny. Ginny runs and hides in a wardrobe. The butcher walks in the same room looking for her. He looks in the wardrobe but cannot find her, so he leaves the room. Ginny comes out of her secret hiding place in the wardrobe. Terrible idea. Her parents pull up to the house and her dad honks the horn. Ginny says, "Daddy," and runs to the door, and the butcher stops her and flings her, impaling her. He takes his mask off and walks over to the Ladola from before. Ginny's parents open the door, then they scream as they see their daughter dead. We also see the Ladola is missing. The title card appears. Millie's pig alarm clock rings. She stretches and wakes up. She goes and eats breakfast. Her mom suggests that they eat like a family for a change. Her sister says, "Like a family, right?" She sits down. Millie's sister asks her if she's going to homecoming. Millie says she's not and she's going to see Wicked with her mom. Millie walks to school and gets picked up in her friend's car. Once at school, they get out of the car and talk about homecoming. Millie's friends try to convince Millie to come to homecoming, but she says she has to stay with her mom and take care of her. Millie walks down the hallway at school and stops at her locker. In woodshop, Mr. Bernardi gets mad at Millie for being late again. Booker lets her in on the secret he uses, setting your watch 5 minutes ahead. Then everyone in her class gets an alert on their phones of the killings from the night before. In the theater, Millie and Nyla talk about the killings. Millie's mom is late again, picking her up from school after the football game. She sits and waits and sees the Blissfield Butcher staring at her. Millie tells him her sister is gonna be here any second. The butcher walks towards her. She runs away. The butcher catches up to her and stabs her with the Ladola. The next morning, the butcher wakes up in Millie's body in her room, and Millie wakes up in the butcher's room. The butcher comes downstairs. We see our mom watching the news about the stabbing last night. She turns it off when she sees the butcher and takes him to the table to eat. He eats his food like he hasn't eaten in forever, because he's the butcher. We see the butcher on the news with a sketch of him. Millie walks down the street, and people look at her weird. A woman bumps into her, and she tries to help her up, but she screams, and Millie runs away. The butcher looks for an outfit and finds a red coat and wears that and walks into school. Everyone stares at him as he walks past. The butcher tells Ryler to meet him in the locker room to talk. Ryler goes to the bathroom and hears something. She sees Millie taking a shower and runs out to tell the butcher, who tells her to hide in a cryo chamber. Millie gets out and opens the chamber, and Ryler is frozen. Over the PA system, the principal warns students that the butcher is in the school. He goes to woodshop and sits down. The teacher is annoyed and is mean to him. Nyla and Josh wait for the butcher in the theater. Millie shows up and chases them to talk. She does the Blissfield High battle cry. They still don't super believe her, so they ask her questions. Only Millie would know. They do their secret handshake, and they believe her. They talk in the bathroom, and Josh finds a picture of the Ladola on his phone. They go to their Spanish teacher, who translates it for them. She says Millie only has until midnight to switch back, or else the curse becomes permanent. The butcher goes to woodshop class and kills the teacher. He walks out of woodshop and sees Millie and screams for help. They run and drive. Millie's sister Char sees them speeding and drives after them. They drive to the place where Millie's mom works and tells him to hide in a dressing room. They leave the store, and Josh sees if anyone knows where the butcher is on Instagram. He finds him, and he's at a mini golf place. At the mini golf place, the butcher goes in the mini golf course, and Booker follows. They show up at the mini golf place, and Nyla says she'll check the back. Booker walks through the course looking for the butcher. Millie looks for Booker. Josh looks for the butcher. The butcher follows Booker. Millie whacks the butcher, and Booker leaves. Millie throws him against a wall to avoid him telling anyone. They take him to Josh's house. They tie the butcher up, and Booker wakes up. The butcher tries to convince Booker that he's the real Millie. Booker leaves, and then Millie recites a poem she wrote for him, and he believes him. Nyla, Josh, Booker, and Millie talk about leaving to get the Ladola from the police station and leaving the butcher with Josh. They do. Nyla runs in the police station and says to Char that the butcher drove her there and is behind the station. Booker and Millie talk in the car. Josh babysits the butcher. He gets something from the fridge when he hears his mom come home. She asks why Millie is tied to her dining room chair. When Josh tries to tell her that he's the butcher, he somehow gets free and chases them. They have homecoming, and the butcher is there. Nyla, Josh, Booker, and Millie run to where homecoming is. They look around for the butcher. Millie finds him and chases him. Nyla and Josh run too, and Nyla jumps on the butcher's back, plowing him to the ground. Josh picks up the Ladola and throws it to Millie. Millie is about to stab the butcher when the timer for midnight goes off. The time for them to switch back is up. Or so he thinks. He remembers what Booker said about setting your watch 5 minutes ahead. Nyla and Josh hold the butcher down, and Millie stabs the butcher, and they switch back. Booker and Millie talk. Back at Millie's house, she sits on the bed with her mom, and Char walks in and talks to them. Then she leaves to go to bed, and Millie and her mom talk. Millie goes out to get something and sees the butcher and kills him. And that's the end of the movie. I hope you like this recap. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.